Hello everyone, this is my friend from Sri Lanka, Ransilu, and I will not introduce him myself that much. I'll only say a few words. This is very odd time, at the night time we couldn't find a place and we were very busy and came here in Belarus in Minsk for the World Championships. And I met him a few years ago and I realized he's probably one of the best lifter from Sri Lanka, and now he proved he is the best up to now. He's smiling because he's very gentleman, down to earth. He doesn't want to brag. So let me brag about himself a little bit. So I will ask him some simple questions so that he can give his introduction. Tell me about your age and like how long you're training. I know you were a weightlifter before. Most of the people who will watch this video, they know weightlifting is we call Olympic lifting, and clean and jerk and snatch, and powerlifting is squat, bench press, and the deadlift. So first of all, I want to ask, when did you start weightlifting, and why did you stop and go to powerlifting? Just simply, if you want to say something.
I started weightlifting at the age of 7.
Yeah.
So that was like 1993. Now I'm 30 years old.
Yes.
So after the Commonwealth back in 2006 at the Melbourne,
Yeah.
I got a pull on my bicep. So I really had to move on, and doctors wanted me to take a rest for like 2-3 years. So I didn't want to do that. So I switched into powerlifting.
So when you started powerlifting, someone asked you to start powerlifting, or you found yourself and just start to train? If you have any good coach, or you just coach yourself?
Luckily, back in time, while doing weightlifting, I did powerlifting. Meantime, it was not like really professional, recreational, but with recreationally, I managed to get the Asian silver medal at the sub-junior level and a bronze medal at the World Championships back in 2003. So after that, I stopped and fully focused on the weightlifting, and that made me start back again in 2013. I started by powerlifting.
Yeah, okay. Before, probably you know that most of the people, they realize the weightlifters, they look slightly different at their body, because they when they lift above head, they don't have to have really big shoulders or big arms, because they need a lot of flexibility. So you were slightly lighter or different before when you used to do weightlifting. And
Yeah, I was competing in the 94 category, and I was feeling much more flexible than this. Probably, I think, but I feel I was getting much stronger, and I think if I work on my techniques and the flexibility and speed, I think lift more. I think powerlifting will help weightlifters more, especially on the squats and deadlifts.
And would you like to tell people how often, because sometimes when we talk to the big lifters, not all, some people, they like to brag. Oh, I train 2 times a day and 4 hours and 5 days. I eat like 10,000 calories. Would you like to tell me briefly, not your training routines, how often you train and for how long? For example, 1 hour, 2 hours of workout, and how many days you train?
Actually, I train all 6 days, and Sunday is my off. So probably by squat like twice a week, deadlift like twice a week, and twice bench press. So meantime, I work on my supportive exercises a much, and was because of weightlifting, I think as powerlifters they take a big rest before the event. If I gonna rest, I think I will lose my confidence. So until the last day before the competition, I keep myself doing the rhythms and training routines. Sometimes I go up to like 2 hours or 1.5 hours. So basically it's 90 minutes with all the stretching and everything. It comes to like 2 hours.
And what are your best lifts, and what were you at class?
I think right now raw lifting I have pulled 310 kilograms, and the deadlift, so that is my main weapon, the deadlift, and equipped I have done 322. So probably I'm aiming at the raw deadlift record 312, and squat the 300 equipped I had done 300 kilos, and raw my maximum was 270.
And sometimes we have the same questions, like you're a family man. I will ask you this question. You don't have to answer it, but usually I know it's very, very hard to train or to compete and travel. Like we are standing in, by the way, as I said before, we are standing in Belarus, this Russian country, and I'm from Canada, he's from Sri Lanka. So I just have the chance to talk to him outside our hotel, and the light is not very good, but because we couldn't find a nice place, inside are very noisy. I think myself, I talk to many people, it is very hard to train without family or friends sport. So you want to say something about your family? They encourage you and they back you up, and they're happy what you're doing, traveling?
Yeah, especially I had a sporting background in my family. My dad was a weightlifter. He was a national champion in Sri Lanka. So from my being my childhood, I had a very good background, and meantime right now my wife is helping a lot. So it's always about the family, and even my friends encourage me a lot. So I think without their support and the blessing, it will be a hard job done. So even at work, when I goes to work, they help me out, come and they try to help me out more, because I'm be recognized among them. So
the reason I ask, sometimes people, they don't realize, when I say family sport, it's not only the sport you go to the gym, because your family, they have to sacrifice their family life. Say for a woman, our man is away sometime, and they have to manage the house chores and probably kids and a lot of responsibility. And when you travel, you spend money, which could be spent on her new suit or something like that. Sometimes I look like a joke, but I'm very truthful, and I know, because I'm in lifting for a long time. Sometimes that the people who see it, they think, oh, the guy came and squat like in 2 seconds, but it could be your 10-15 years hard work and a lot of money and a diet and your sacrifice. Sacrifice, when I say, it's not only the time and punishment to train, also because you want to eat something, a pizza or sweets and this and that. You say, no, I don't want to eat, I want to look after my health. And now you're from Colombo?
Yeah, I'm basically from Colombo.
Okay, so you're from Colombo. What is the culture of the city? And when I say, let me explain when I say culture, because I live in Canada for 30 years.
Right.
Actually, it was June 22nd when yesterday, I completed 30 years when I moved from UK to Canada. I moved on June 22nd, 87. So when I say culture, I'm not talking the culture of the country. I'm talking the culture of the sports. I will put this on internet, and I can say even on internet that in Canada, the Canadian government, they don't care about sports that much, especially weightlifting, powerlifting, wrestling, strongman sports. They don't care at all. We don't get no funding from provincial government, nothing from Canadian government. It's very hard to get a sponsorship, because people, they sponsor only to get some advertisement for their business, because powerlifting is not expected as sport. So when I talk about culture, I'm not talking about the culture of the society. I'm thinking, I'm asking you the culture of the sports. Some countries like Canada, they don't care about powerlifting. In Sri Lanka, when you go around and talk to government officials or need sponsorship, or general when you go to schools, or I'm not saying like a big star public appearance, sometimes you go to school kids or some sports ground to tell them about the health. How much respect or the recognition they give you as a sportsman?
If I say from the school, there's big recognition for powerlifting in Sri Lanka. So as we win the medals, it's keep on growing. So I think the government is helping us a lot. So if you win a medal, when you're going back to the country, there's a big felicitation all the time. And even to most of the tours, the government has sponsored us. The etiquette, the accommodation, most of the. So, and as most of the kids are getting involved with powerlifting, it's a growing sport in Sri Lanka.
So, the powerlifting becoming popular as an individual. When you go as an individual, I'm not saying they should be beating the drum, or you're coming, but do you think they give you fairly acceptable reception? So you're happy with your performance and hard work. At least people give you some recognition.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm pretty happy about it because powerlifting, as we say, like most of people think that weightlifting is when you compare to weightlifting, powerlifting is a smaller sport. So that's what people think, but it's not for us. So, but I think the recognition that I'm getting is enough for me when I compare for the other countries. As you said, in Canada, you don't get anything. At the first days, I was thinking that it's me that were not getting the recognition. It seems to be when you compare with the other countries, I'm getting much more than them.
Yes. Okay. Now let me ask you a few questions. Sometimes you may not have the answer. If you don't have the answer, you say it's hard to think. You let me know. Do you remember any like a funny part of your training or the competition? Something funny happened, and you remember this was a funny incident?
This is funny and pretty dangerous. What was at a Asian Championship? One guy had missed out 2 plates. So when I took off the rack, it went this way. So it was funny, but it was very dangerous at this. So that's very remarkable in my life.
And I know most of the answers myself. But sometimes if I tell people, oh, this is not true, this is what happened, people say, you're beating your own drum. So when I ask people the question, I want them to say something about the general things, because what happened, sometimes there are so many misconceptions among people.
Yeah.
And when I talk to different people, ask them, when they say something, then it become like the reality. Sometimes people say, oh, this guy eat like 10,000, 15,000, especially Eastern Bloc. Sometimes people brag, oh, he eat 5 chickens a day, 10-liter milk. What's your regular diet kind of in calories or in the morning? A little bit just for people information.
Yeah, well, I don't count much of calories, especially country like in Sri Lanka. It's really hard to count the calories. That food that we eat, especially most of the like most of the potatoes, most of the starch that we are getting, it's really hard to get the calorie counters. So what is normally I add a lot of chicken, of course it's there, and I don't eat beef and pork.
Yes.
So it's my only option is chicken and eggs. So at eggs I go for like 15 egg whites per day. That's a must, and a lot of milk and a lot of traditional Sri Lankan food. But to be honest, I'm not like really chasing out my meals. Especially as I'm working as an executive in the finance field, I don't get much time to concern about the food.
So the other thing is, sometimes have you ever faced any accident in training or in competition which you remember? Because sometimes people think weightlifting and powerlifting is a very dangerous and extreme game, which I really don't agree with that. In every sport, we have a good chance to get injuries. We don't see that many people in weightlifting or even powerlifting with broken arms and this and that. And the injury can happen. What did you ever face like any kind of scary movement where you think you could be injured, or if you remember any time like that?
I think this is not the actual. As I mentioned, I had the bicep toe on my hand bicep toe at the weightlifting championship. In powerlifting, I had just got once, so like I just teared my quadriceps. That's the main injury that I have faced. But that injury caused me like I was stuck at some 270 kilos squat for like good 1.5 years. It's not the weight. It was the pain memory. So I was like struggling to get rid of that. It took. It was very hard to get rid of that. Not the pain, it's the memory. So that each time I get the weight on my back, I feel okay. When I'm getting up, if it gets hurts, what's going to happen? Because after that incident, I had to rest for like good 2-3 months without squatting. So yeah.
One more question. Weightlifting, when people go close to 28, 30, 32, they usually think it's time to retire because the speed is going down, and it's very hard to keep at the high level, the competition as an elite level when you're over 30. But in powerlifting, we usually believe that you hit your peak close to 37, 38, 40, or even 44. So you're 30 years old. Do you think you're still becoming stronger?
Yes, of course. And since I started powerlifting back in 2013, I think still I'm getting stronger and just get to know the stuff, especially the training routines and how to work out those things. So I think with another good 2-3 years time, I'll be able to, especially on deadlift, I think I'll be able to get into a good level on the raw deadlift.
Basically, these are the simple questions I just wanted to ask because we don't have no time, and maybe people will realize the background has been changed.
Yeah.
Where we were talking, someone outside the hotel, they turned the light off, so we came in the lobby, and maybe I don't want anybody to complain. We're standing here. I hope to see you in another competition sometime, and then we can sit down and talk. And I want to just add from myself. Usually I don't say the things in front of people. He's a very nice gentleman. And, he's like, for me, he's a kid, because I'm very old, like maybe older than his father. But it's very nice to see you always. And if you want to say something to people in general or to young generation of any country from you, any kind of advice, you can say that.
Well, actually, generally, I want to say that when one door closed, there's another door opening up. It's a general saying. So, I was so worried when I got my injury and I had to stop weightlifting. But I'm doing pretty well on the powerlifting, and it's a lifestyle. So, never give up. So, that's what I have to say. And of course, keep strong. That's it.
I actually, I asked you the wrong question. I meant to say not powerlifting, being a sportsman. Forget you are a weightlifter or powerlifter. I always tell people, because I never say I promote powerlifting, because if I see cricket or hockey or wrestling or any soccer, any game, I give same respect to all the sportsmen who achieved something in their sport. So being a sportsman, if you want to say something to the new generation kids, the importance of sports, not powerlifting. If they want to do powerlifting, good enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go to a school and you talk about powerlifting, they say, listen, I don't want to be a powerlifter. So I always tell them, listen, I'm not here to promote powerlifting, I'm here to promote sports.
Yes.
So if you want to add just one or two lines for the kids or even younger generation.
Oh yeah, it's like being a sportsman always it gives a target on your life. So your life never gets boring. So when you finish a competition, so I'm talking about the competitive level sports, being a sportsman. So I think once you finish a competition, you are getting ready for the other one. So your life will never get bored. So and it's always keep you healthy, not like you can't be a drug addict or else you can't be a you can't be a drug addict or you can't be a criminal. So I think these things keep you away from sports will keep you away from all these things. So I think being a sportsman is very important for everyone, and get into a competitive sport is very important, and it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of determination and commitment. So it's always you and you. So you don't have to care about the others. It's always you and yourself who's fighting against.
So do you think it helped you to concentrate on the thing? Because being a competitive sportsman, you need a lot of concentration. Concentration and determination to achieve something. I believe I'm in sports for almost like all my life, like 45 years. And I think you learn how to concentrate on the things because you need a lot of determination. So I just think that if the kids are in sports, they keep away from bad habits because they don't have time for those things. Yeah. And I believe if you are in sports, deeply in sports, you make good friends because your friends will be like they will be sports people. So I think a lot of things to gain being a sportsman. And I don't want to make this conversation too long. I just want to introduce him in India, and I will put on internet in Canada. I usually, this is not my money-making thing. I'm a referee for a long time, and I train people. I don't charge people. It's a good thing to give recognition to different sports people. And if anybody come to me, I will not say, oh, you're not a power lifter or this and that. I give same respect two people. It's an honor to see you, and I wish you all the best and luck in the coming future. And I hope to see you next year because the World Championship is coming to Canada next year. And I just want to say good luck for. By the way, he's competing not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday. Today is Friday. So he's competing on June 25th. June 25th, Sunday, and I will be there, one of the referees, hopefully. And I wish you luck once again. I see you on the platform.
Thank you.
And all the best here, and safe journey go back to Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Maybe I will visit you in Sri Lanka sometime. Now, because as I said, see, I told that we make new friends. I made some new friends in Sri Lanka. So now if I go back sometime to decide to go to Sri Lanka, I'm a big man, my friend, to give me protection. And nice to see you, man.
Right,
Nice to see you. Yes, yeah. Okay. Best of luck to you. And thank you for watching this video.